This is exactly like the weapon that was used in the Dayton, Ohio shooting. And I want to talk about it and why I have one. So stay tuned. What's up, parishioners? This is Chaplain Reese here, and if God done it for me, He can do it for you too. I appreciate you joining me today, and if you have not already, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to my channel where I put out videos to encourage you to live by faith through Jesus Christ and by the power of the Holy Ghost. This is a cheap Ar-15. I put it together myself. This is an Anderson lower, and I got a kit from a company, and this is almost the exact weapon that was used in the Dayton, Ohio shooting. And let me say this, that I'm so sorry for what has happened, and those people and family has been in my thoughts and prayers. But you may say, well, why would a Christian minister chaplain have the exact same weapon that was used in a mass shooting? Because now that these shootings have taken place, unfortunately, our people in the government are saying that they should come knock on my door, or I should take this and turn it in. But what I'm trying to say is, if the bad guys out there have these, then I need them too to defend myself. There are 327 million people in the United States of America, give or take. And in those 327 million people, there are somewhere around 40,000 deaths every year caused by guns. Many of those deaths are suicides. Very unfortunate. I've been there myself. Most of those suicides are not committed with weapons like this. And some of those are accidental deaths. And as far as murders goes, one man said there's somewhere around 8,000. And out of 327 million people in the United States of America, that 8,000 is a very small percentage. What I'm trying to say is that this is not the problem. Thank God that it's 1%, because that means even though I have this, more than likely I will never have to use it. But one man said this, that even though it's that small 1%, that I might have to use it. If I didn't have it and needed to use it, I would lose 100% of everything that I have. But I live here, I've got a wife and 4 children, and as the head of the household, it's my responsibility to protect them. And not only that, as a veteran, the reason why I like these is because I know how to use one. When I was in the military for 6 years, I always had something like this issued to me. When I got out of the military, it was years and years and years until I had one of these. But when I got one, I was able to easily take it apart. The problem is not these. The problem is the people that have them. Now, I have this. The Dayton shooter had this. Many other mass shooting people have had these, but the difference is the owners, the people. And I love God, and I appreciate God and all that He's done for me. And the Bible says in the book of Romans that when people begin going out into sin, God turns them over to a reprobate mind. And that means that they don't have a conscience anymore. There's 3 types of a conscience: the pure conscience, the defiled conscience and the seared conscience. And when God turns you over to a reprobate mind, to where people fall into homosexuality and people do things like take these tools or these weapons of self-defense and kill other people, they're turned over. But you take a look at this, and this thing right here, the same thing that the bad guys use to kill people, the same thing that the good guys use to defend people. This can be used for good or it can be used for bad. But the thing is that there's always going to be the bad people out there. And if we get rid of these, then we have no way of defending ourselves and our families. Now, I was in the military 6 years, and one of the main things is you never, ever, ever point this at anybody. You point it at the ground, you point it what's called downrange, but you never point it at anybody. That's the number one thing in safety. You know how to take these apart. Now, to release the magazine, this one has a small one in it because I'm trying to conserve space. But you push this button right here, the magazine comes out. As you can see that it's empty. The Dayton shooter had what's called a drum magazine, a double drum magazine on his. You pull this back to make sure there's nothing in it, and right here there's a button that you push. As you can see that this is on safe. The button you can push and pull this pin out and it slides over. As you can see, this is all that I put together in here, the trigger and the magazine release, all of these things, I put that in there. It's the first time I'd ever done it. This is the bolt carrier, and then you can see down into the barrel. And it goes right back together. Very simple machine. This is called a dust cover, and if it gets jammed up, it's got this, and this basically shoves the bolt carrier back down in there so you can eventually get the jam out of it. See, it's got all those on there, and when you push that, it pushes it forward. Very, very, it's an engineering marvel, and it's a right for us to have these. As long as I'm not doing anything against the law, don't plan on doing anything against the law, it's really nobody else's business if I have this. It's between me and God. Now this right here, believe it or not, I've got $350 invested in this, and that's it. I bought this. I wanted this to look as much like a regular Army rifle as possible, sort of a miniature model. But the bad guys have these, and if we were to have to give all of our guns up, you know who would still have the guns? The bad guys. And they could come up and they could do anything they want. Rape, steal, kill. They would do anything that they wanted. That's why Americans need to keep their rights and protect themselves, because these aren't the problem. The problem is that America has tried to take God out of everything. And when you take God out of everything, there's no consequence for sin. There's no one that you have to answer to. And that's what America wants. They don't want to answer to anybody. But I know that if I ever have to use this, that I'm going to answer to God. And that's why I'm careful with this. And Lord willing, I won't ever have to use it. But if I ever did, I've got it right here. So that's the difference between me and the Dayton, Ohio shooter, is that I've got this thing, I've got it legally, and I'm going to use it to protect me and my family. I might take it out there, target practice with it, and shoot some predators with it. And there's even people, believe it or not, that use these little short guns and they take them deer hunting with them. There's nothing wrong with this. It's the people of the world today that's got the problem. So what can I do about it? What I can do about it is, out of the 327 million people, what I can do is start with me and search my heart. I never ever in my mind have I ever thought about doing anything like a mass shooting. But to me, if somebody gets mad enough to cuss somebody out, mad enough to punch somebody in the face, that's bad enough. You need to search your heart. You need to see what's inside there. These kids that sit around playing these violent video games, murdering people, it's desensitizing them to make them think that there's no consequence. Watching all these movies where you see people killed all the time, all that violence, that's not of God. It's desensitizing people. Stay alert, stay alive. Watch out for yourself, watch out for your family, watch out for others. And always be an open line of communication to people that may be in danger of hurting themselves or hurting other people. I want to be somebody that's got a smile on his face and his hand out saying, hey, if you've got issues and if you've got trouble, come to me and let's talk about it. Because us together with prayer and God helping, He can work it out. He done it for me and He can do it for you too. So that's what you have to do if you want to help this problem in America with mass shootings and violence. First, you have to check yourself and make sure that your heart's in the right condition so that you don't do anything like that. Number two, you've got to watch over your family. You've got to train and educate your family. You need to have a system in order if there is a mass shooting. The other night in devotions, we talked about what we would do if somebody came into our church and started shooting. You need to have a plan. Look on the internet, and I'm not going to go into all that. Know what to do. So watch yourself, watch your family, be prepared. But not only that, always have a humble, Christ-like spirit with an open hand, letting the world know that you're somebody that they can come to. Now, if one of these shooters would have encountered that one person, and I don't know I don't know if it would have changed anything, but just something, the smallest little thing could have taken place in their life that day that changed it all. That one decision. And so many lives, 29 lives that day, may have been spared. Jesus Christ is the answer to all of the world's problems. You may say, well, I don't believe that. I guarantee you He is. Because even if a person was not a Christian, and they took the 10 commandments or they took the 2 commandments, they took the second commandment, says, love thy neighbor as thyself. It would have changed everything. Jesus Christ is the answer. This is Chaplain Reese signing off. Don't forget that I love you and appreciate you. And if you have any bitter spirits in your heart that cause anger, that cause rage or hatred in your heart, send me a message. If you've got suicidal thoughts, I want to try to help you because, hey, I've been there myself. I know how it is. And I want to extend my hand. God's done a great work in my life. He's changed me. It hasn't always been easy, but here I am. That's what I'm here for. I love you and appreciate you. And don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.